You're listening to The Switch. I'm your host, Stephanie Shaw. Hey, welcome to The Switch. I'm Stephanie Shaw. I'm a multi-certified holistic nutrition coach who, after finding no success with the 18 doctors and 2 world-renowned healthcare facilities I visited, decided I needed to make a switch and take my health into my own hands. Now I'm obsessed with you getting hormonally balanced and emotionally aligned. This podcast is about education, empowerment, and simple no-cost strategies you can implement right now. I'm so excited to be here with you to talk about all things health, beauty, clean living, and mindset. Ready to take your mind and body to the next level? It's time to make the switch. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Switch. I'm excited to be here today with Ferrin Peterson. Farron is a jockey, a veterinarian, and an animal acupuncturist, and we're going to have to ask her about that one. Farron has a strong appreciation for health and life balance, and she has experienced the effect of a healthy lifestyle not only on herself, but on her pets as well. Farron, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for having me today.
Of course. This is so exciting for me, you guys, because Farron was one of my very first clients and one of the first folks that offered me a testimonial. So she gave me a chance. So, and Farron, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the conversations that we've had.
Well, I've really appreciated working with you and even developing a friendship through it, which is not something I was expecting with a life coach. So it's been a great adventure with you.
Oh, thank you so much. So let's dive right in. So you're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and if people even knew how much, I think everyone would get a little tired. I'm tired right now just thinking about it. So let's tell the audience a little bit about your background, and then segue a little bit into why veterinarian medicine.
Right. So I grew up with horses and was always passionate about that, and then as I was growing up, wanted to see what way I could incorporate that into potentially a career. So I was always interested in being a jockey since I was very young, and then thought more about other options and decided to pursue veterinary medicine. And then during college, I was a track pole vaulter. And so just experiencing sports and athleticism through myself and training and health and wellness, that all came together. So I enjoy medicine and sports rehabilitation, and then I started getting acupuncture done on myself, different integrative therapies. And so I think just experiencing it for myself, experiencing things that were done to treat my horse, and the way that medicine is always developing and growing, that's the way my mind works. Like, I want to constantly be growing until I'm 90. If I live that long, like, I still want to be learning things. And so that's my kind of track of work. So I pursued veterinary school, and then during vet school, I ended up becoming a jockey. So I pursued that dream as well. And now that I'm graduated, I'm a little over a year out from vet school. I'm pursuing my jockey career full time.
Wow.
I'm doing veterinary medicine on the side, and then got my certification as an animal acupuncturist. So now all 3 dreams that I've had for quite a while are all coming together, and I'm able to do all of them.
You guys, Farron, I won't tell her age, but she's young. And so that makes her, to me, even more of a powerhouse to be able to set goals young in life and then actually achieve those goals. So that speaks so much about you as a woman. And that's why I think I like talking to you and hanging around you. You motivate me, Farron. So folks may be wondering, okay, this is a health and wellness podcast. Why am I on here talking about, veterinarian medicine? But it all aligns. And I think you talked about it a little bit when you said you had acupuncture on yourself. So you thought that this would be a tool for your animals as well. So talk about why this type of treatment and what it does when you're in the care of your animal.
Right. And the way that rehabilitation in veterinary medicine trends is it always starts with something that has been done in human medicine, and we find it works, and then people go, hey, like, if this works on me, I want to try it on my pet, because most of us could say we would pay more for our dog or horse to be happy than we would for ourselves, and I know I'm that way. So when I was first interested in equine acupuncture on horses, I remember at first a lot of people were saying it's voodoo medicine, and that was when I was in high school. But I just kind of was intrigued by it, thought it was different as I started learning more about Eastern medicine and how ancient it is. And if this culture of people could be using this medicine for this long, like, how is it not something that, we've grasped onto?
Right.
And I like taking different ideas. I try to stay open-minded in my life about things. And so combining Eastern and Western medicine to me is really important. And so, they both have their pluses, and, I don't think one is complete without the other. So that is something that really grasped me. And then just having it done on myself, and I'd tried several different therapies. I'd had an accident as a pole vaulter and had a lower back injury. And I just was really frustrated trying to find ways to heal, be ready for my next season. And acupuncture was what finally did it for me. And it was a last resort. And often that's how people find it, is a last resort. And sometimes it's hard because that's like too late. We want to get it when the injury is acute and nip it in the bud, but often it still can make life-changing responses. So being able to bring that to my patients has just been amazing. I mean, you just see like miraculous cases sometimes, and not to say that medicine can't do those things too, but to be able to do both. And in general, Eastern medicine and acupuncture, we really are delving into the root cause of a problem. And that's been really important to me. Like, I've never been a person to take many like pain medication, anti-inflammatories. If I have a headache, I'm going to drink water and be like, maybe I'm dehydrated, and instead of taking an Advil or something. Like, that's my approach to things. And if I have like a strained muscle, I'm going to try to think, what supporting muscles do I need to strengthen, or how do I need to carry my posture differently, or, try to find like my lifestyle change. And that's something that's so important. And so when I have my animal patients, like, that's something that I like to address with my clients is, okay, well, what lifestyle change can we address so that we're not just putting a Band-Aid on the problem? Because we want longevity in our lives and our animals' lives. So that's one of the reasons Eastern medicine, that is very much the approach, and just taking everything into account as far as like diet, exercise, stretches, all of it. And actually they look a lot at like behavior and temperament in each individual and how we can treat different because of that. And I find it so fascinating, and there's so much more for me to learn, but I love it.
That's awesome. So it sounds to me like as if you're treating the animal the same way that you treat yourself. And you said that by using the acupuncture. What differences are you finding in that animal? Are they able to, they have more endurance? Do they show better? What are some of the differences that you find? And how can people, if they don't have an acupuncturist for their animal, how can they make some changes in order for them to see positive outcomes with their loved one?
Yeah. Because you can see different things, because pain presents in, different ways, where it can be a behavioral response and you're wondering, why is my horse like acting angry, or even sometimes refusing jumps or things like that. And, but again, it goes back to the personality. So if the horse has kind of a more flamboyant personality, that's how they're going to react. If they're more an internalizer, then they're just kind of going to shut down, hold the pain in, do their job because they just want to please you. But you're not going to see that like personality out of them. You're not going to see their performance. So you see performance changes, you see behavioral changes, and just generally, when you're watching the animal move, as you have more of a trained eye, you can see, a change in their gait. And then you can use it for internal medicine as well, which is often more like in the small animal realm, dogs and cats, and a lot of different like metabolic diseases. And because acupuncture treats meridians in the body, it goes deep, it changes, different endorphins and things like that. So again, there's just so much that it can do. And then when it's paired with Western medicine, I just think that why not have more tools in our toolbox so that we can offer everything we can?
And yeah, that sounds great. And I'll go back to something you said about how we find it. And that's how I found acupuncture too, like last resort, not taking advantage or thinking that Eastern medicine is more of a woo-woo kind of thing and people being afraid to step into it. But again, it's been effective over civilization. So it's something that I always recommend that people look into if they're struggling. And again, if you're having, acute pain, you're having a heart attack, go to the hospital. But if there is an opportunity for you to, like you said, drink water because you have a headache, or eat a little differently, or actually recognize where that pain is coming from, if you have that opportunity to do that and use some of those other tools and resources, that's always very helpful. I not only do I not like to take medicine, I always laugh. I'm like, I can't even take a kid's Tylenol.
Right.
So how did you know you wanted to be a jockey? What does that look like, and how did you make that transition?
Yeah. I don't know how I got the bug initially, but I mean, anyone who lived with me, was around me, will tell you that's always what I talked about. It was, I'm going to be a jockey someday. And then it just, when I was in my teenage years, kind of my parents talked about how it was a pretty dangerous lifestyle. It's a difficult lifestyle for a girl, especially to be successful. And I knew I really enjoyed academics as well, so I wanted to get a degree in something. And I thought, well, then I can still continue riding horses, but maybe not breaking out of a starting gate and going as fast as you can around a track, which is what I really want to do. So then when I was in vet school, again, I kept wanting to diversify my experience. And I thought, well, if I'm working with racehorses, because I thought I could do rehabilitation and acupuncture on racehorses, was kind of the trajectory I was aiming for. I thought, well, then to be able to understand how to ride a racehorse and, to get it from their back, I'm just going to understand them that much better, because I rode my whole life, but riding racehorses is a very different style. I mean, you barely use your legs, your, knees are up to your chest and you're hovering over the horse. And you just have your feet in the stirrups. So, it's completely different than like sitting in a saddle, having a long leg against the horse's side. And I mean, the racing world is just kind of a whole industry of its own that, my family is still like, well, there's so much to learn. They've been seeing it through me because I don't come from a racing background at all, which is part of the reason it took me so long to find my way. Mm-hmm. But I just started exploring more externships during vet school and traveling to the East Coast in Kentucky, and then started going internationally. And then I started doing like the reproduction side of it. And I thought, okay, well, I want to see what it's like, with a pregnant mare. And then I want to see what it's like to help a foal be delivered and, develop them as they grow. And I thought it would be neat to be the first one on a horse's back and, teach them how to wear a saddle, carry a rider, have manners. And so then from there, I said, well, I'd love to ride a horse around a racetrack. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? And so then as I started doing that, people saw potential in me and kept saying, well, you should be a jockey. You're the right size. You have like similar style when you're riding. And so I just thought, well, if this is my passion, like I believe in following that. And that's something my dad always instilled in me too. He's like, whatever you want to do, like just do it wholeheartedly. And as long as that career exists, like, you can kind of morph your own path too. And he said, just go for it. And so I felt like growing up, that was always something I believed in. And so I thought, I'm going to go for it.
That's awesome. That's so important to have that backing, that inspiration, and that support from your family. You talked a little, yeah, it is huge. It is huge. You talked a little bit about potential challenges for you as a female jockey, or, your parents brought up that issue. Have you found that to be a challenge, or has that worked in your favor?
Right. I mean, almost every track I've been at, I've been either the only female jockey or there's been one other female. And so, I mean, it's definitely, male-dominated sport. But I just find that, as long as you can compete with them and as long as you're an athlete like them, like we're competing on equal levels, and I've never found a problem with that. People have respected me. And I think anytime, like, even if it's guys competing against guys, like if you can ride if you're courageous, if you're strong, if horses respond to you, like you just have to prove yourself. And so I like rising up to the standard.
Oh, that's awesome. So when we first met, you were getting ready you were in California and you weren't going, I don't know if you were going to move or not yet, but you ended up in New Jersey.
I had decided yet where to ride next. But yeah, I was taking kind of a hiatus, working on my acupuncture certification. And then I was going to go back in 6 months to riding races.
Yeah. And then COVID world hit. And so
it was longer.
Like everyone, it changed everyone's life. But tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, the experience of working with me. How did that go for you?
Right. It was great. Because I felt a little bit directionless. Like I was focusing on, my nutrition, my fitness, and, something we talk about a lot on your podcast is just being well-rounded and balanced. And again, with Eastern medicine, we look at nutrition and like, it's what you're putting in your body. And if I'm a professional athlete and I'm going to be asking, so much out of my body to perform for me and training that hard, like I need to be giving it the proper building blocks of, the proteins and carbohydrates and understanding those ratios. And, it's not taught that well. Nutrition is still developing. There's so much out there that you can find on the internet and, you can get lost. And so I had tried different things and, as a jockey, you have to keep a very lean weight. And so, I always thought, well, I want to always enjoy my food because I love food. But I want to be strict and correct about what I'm eating. And, I want to train like an athlete. So that was how I found you, Stephanie. And, you were offering free 15-minute consultations. And so we spoke on the phone, and then something that just stood out so much was your personality. And I thought, this is someone I really want to work with. Like, it's not just someone who understands nutrition and the body and, which is very helpful because I just think you need to look for your resources. Like whatever it is that you want to master, like find the best person in that and let them teach you.
Right.
And so you certainly had the resume for that. And I went on your website and was very impressed. And you offered all these resources too. And I just was so impressed by how welcoming, how generous you were, and how at the root of it, you did this because of a personal thing that you've experienced, which is kind of what's led me in my career path as well. And I think that makes it so much more powerful. It's like, you've personally lived through it. You've seen how it's changed your life. And now you're going to change your career path so that you can help everyone else. And that was very impressive to me. And I thought, okay, this could be my life coach. I like her. And then, working together and talking to you. And I remember one of the things too, with nutrition and thinking about rather than taking things away and saying no to all your cravings and driving yourself nuts, it's about balance and support. And if you're happy and well-rounded and you're exercising and you're bonding with family and have good relationships and the support system, you're in a good place and you're going to make good choices, whether it's, to go run, to go, eat your veggies instead of a slice of cake. It's just really important to your mindset. And I had never really thought about nutrition in that way. And then it did change, it made it an enjoyable process to, start changing eating habits and really be able to be strict on that without feeling like you're, being watched and filling in a list of calories and things like that. That's not the way I want to live.
Yeah, I can't live that way either. I love food too much.
Yes.
I appreciate that. It's been so great knowing you, and so great that you're so focused on what you're doing, but doing it in the correct way. And you have great self-care regimens. If there's something that you can share with the folks listening about some of the self-care regimens that you have, can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. As an athlete, I believe in the importance of combining cardio and strength training because I think you need both. Some people shy away from the weight room, but I think just having those supporting muscles are really important with life in general. And then the cardiovascular health is always going to be important. We have to keep our heart pumping well and getting all the blood to our extremities, our lungs. And, it's not fun sometimes, but I think too, what I always tell people, whatever exercise, you can look online and they'll say, oh, well, if you jump rope, you'll burn this many calories versus biking versus running. And I say, do whatever workout you're going to do consistently.
Yes.
Like, if you don't like to run, don't run.
Yeah.
If you enjoy a bike ride with a friend, like, go do that every day. It's great. So there's just so many different ways to do it. And for me, having accountability partners, so I've done so many different, I did hot Pilates for a while because I had a group of vet school friends that after the clinic, we'd go and take this hot Pilates class with our favorite instructor. And then I'd do this 5 a.m. spin class with a friend. And, it's just if I have someone that I know is going to be there and waiting for me, that'll get me out the door when I'm exhausted after vet school, or when I want to sleep in a little bit longer in the morning. And I'm like, nope, get up, go meet them. So accountability, finding things that you love. And then with cooking, that's another thing for me, because I am a social person. I enjoy cooking with friends and trying new recipes. And as I started being okay, well, I was choosing to do a low carb diet. And there are so many different recipes out there. And so cooking with friends and being okay, well, how could we, replace rice for cauliflower rice? And, it tastes the same to me. So I think that's really fun. Just whatever you're doing, make it fun. It doesn't have to be regimented. It doesn't have to be taking away from your life. Everything should be adding to your life. Life's too short. Don't make it simple.
Life is way too short. That's beautiful the way you put that. I appreciate that. And I think people, when they initially walk into hiring a coach or hiring someone for whether it's exercise or nutrition or whatever, they automatically think about what are they going to take away from me? Instead of thinking about what can they add to my life. And it's much better when you think of what you're going to get out of the process.
Yes, I can attest to that.
Yeah. This has been great. Tell us a little bit. So you are in another state now, and you're getting ready to New York, but I wasn't going to say, but I will. So since I said it,
now.
I know no one can find you still. You are getting ready for some more races. So how can people find out about that? I know you have a website and you're active on Instagram. Tell us about how we can find out about what you're doing.
Yeah. So if you want to follow my racing, all my races are on equibase.com. So that's EQUIBASE.com. And then under jockeys, you can just type in my name. So my last name is Peterson. So that's how you can see when I'm riding. You can check results on there. And then I try to post on social media when I win. I like to give carrots to my winners. And so I'll often get to see a close-up in-person picture of my horses getting their victory carrots. So I try to keep that going, especially with COVID right now and the fans not always being able to be there to see them. So I know that the horses is what I love most about it. And I think that most people would say that, they want to see the horses and get to know them a little more personally.
Yeah. What would you say to a young girl who may be listening to this podcast who has a dream of being a jockey?
Dream of being a jockey. I'd say pursue it as far as you can. You may find that it's not the lifestyle you want. We do move around a lot. Not everyone wants that. Some people want stability. I enjoy it. I find it exciting to see, what state am I going to live in next? And, maybe they find the pressure is too much, but maybe they're going to love it. I absolutely cannot think of anything I'd rather be doing right now with my life. And there are ups and downs, but I just think that makes you a stronger person when you can ride those waves and go through hurdles in life. And every career is going to have ups and downs. So just keep chasing that dream. If that's something that you want to do, that's why I kept pursuing it after vet school, is I thought, I don't know if I'll ever have a ton of success at this. I would like to think I would. I feel I have a connection with horses and I've had an athletic background. But I thought, no matter what, when I am over the hill and I'm looking back on my life, I thought I don't ever want to wonder, what if you'd really gone for it and made it? I thought I'm going to just chase this dream as far as I can. And so I never have to ask myself that. So I think that should be kind of what you tell yourself.
I think, so I asked the question, what would you tell a young girl? But that answer spanned beyond that, because even as adults, a lot of times there's still dreams that we have. And then we think, maybe I shouldn't because it's not the right time for the family or whatever. And then you sit there wondering, what if? So what if you just kind of went for it, and then it always works. When it's supposed to, it works out in the end. So
I agree. And if not, then, you're going to have a great adventure trying it, and then you're going to find something else that fits you better.
Yeah. I like that. Listen, young ladies, that's good advice from Farron. So the final question I always ask everyone is, what was the switch, either internally or externally, that made you the woman that you are today?
That is definitely 100% my faith. And that has just been my rock and my foundation. And that's the one thing that no matter what's happening, no matter, what people are saying, what advice they're giving, either way, and, how my success is, it cannot be shaken. And so that's been the most important thing, to just get me through everything and keep believing that there's a greater purpose for what I'm doing.
That's beautiful, Farron. That's one of the things that we connected on as well. So that's beautiful. I appreciate that. Yes. Anything else you'd like to leave the listeners with?
I'd say just enjoy life, keep balance in whatever you're doing, keep your friendships and relationships close, and just that's kind of how I try to live. Just love the people you're around and love yourself, and enjoy being outside in nature. Awesome. There's so many good things around.
You're right. You're so right. Thank you again. It was great spending this time with you today.
Thank you.
Everyone, I will put the information that Farron mentioned in the notes. And everyone, here's to your health. I am so excited for you because you just finished another episode of The Switch, which means you are the fierce person I already knew you were. If you're ready to join an exclusive group of other fierce high performers like you, a group where you can bounce ideas off one another and ask questions, be sure to join our exclusive Facebook community. You can find the link below.